Really? Really? Swift? Hello? How are you doing? I've killed you before. Me and my 5 war chiefs. Let's do this. This is my favorite mission in the game. This mission's so fun.
They say he's a monster who'll poison our minds and bathe in our blood to cheat the cling of death. I say there is no greater monster than the mighty Urukai. Tear his limbs, peel his skin. Today we feast on man.
Fucking Swift is still alive. Son of a bitch. Still freaking alive. After all these years.
See this face? It's the last one you'll ever see.
Son of a bitch. You should be dead. Oh, but you have made a mistake. I've killed you before when you were weaker. I have grown strong. Stronger than ever before. Wasn't he one of the very first commanders I've ever fought? I think he was. He was one of the five first ones I fought. But it's fine. Ow. Fucking jerks. Pug. Frickin' berserker is pissing me off.
You win. Now honor my body with a captain's death.
Will do, my buddy. Will do. Alright, let's kill the Black Hand now.
The fortress of the Black Hand.
My war chiefs will take care of the army. I'll take care of the Black Hand.
This silence taunts us. What sorcery is at work here?
Fucking Pug the Swift.
I wasn't expecting you.
Oh, hey.
I hope my soldiers gave you welcome.
Where are you? Show yourself! This is the work of the tower.
The Black Hand
The tower.
looking for you. But it will give me great pleasure to take you myself.
So if the hammer... Actually, let me let this finish.
Bow to me.
Tower is magical.
And I will deliver you to the Dark Lord, unspoiled.
We bow to no one.
The Dark Lord forgives you, Celebrimbor. Return to him and cast off this human corpse. Stand up and fight. There's no need, Ranger. Celebrimbor is your curse. He chose you.
Silence!
And he can release you at any time. Yes, that's all you are, Ranger. A vessel for the Ringmaker.
I don't give two fucks though, apparently.
As you wish. joy it is to fight such weapons. Such pain. Such a broken mind.
Be careful, he's actually quite powerful. Don't take him head on. It won't work. Because it hurts like that. Ow, I didn't mean to drop the hang. I meant to, like, you know, climb down, but that didn't work. If he sees you, he just hits you with magic, so, you know.
What do you still fight for? What you pick?
There we go, gotcha. So yeah, if the hammer was a head-on combat fight, the tower is a stealth fight.
You taught me to fight.
They shouldn't like guilt trip me into dying. You, alright.
You have walked through the grave many times.
Only once actually. I've only died once, I think. No, twice. I got killed by a Graugan.
Until you know that
Yorif.
place to
Damn it. Confuse me like that. Really weird fight, but it's an interesting one. There's gonna be a cutscene thing that happens because he's gonna turn into the tower to attack me. Yep.
You will never see your family again.
Oh, hold it. That's a different quick time event if I've ever seen one. You know, no words need to be said. That was just badass. Tower crumbles. You know, that's pretty good.
You deceived me. It was Sauron's doing. This was your doing! I should have died with my family. I thought you wanted revenge. I can't leave you. But there is only one way to close the circle. The Black Hand remains. Not for long.
Why is I still denied death in the end? Okay, tower's dead. Thank you.
Father, they say you are a criminal.
So, like, what does that mean exactly? Like, so if it wasn't, so if the Black Hand dies, my soul's freed, correct? Like, if Kalamura let me go, would I just be would I just be like a soul that can never go into the afterlife? Would I just be stuck forever? Anyways, so is he still doing me a favor in the long run, technically? Not sure. I'll be honest, I am not sure.
No
right.
in flames. We must return to Queen Marwen.
The Black Hand has been here. I can feel it.
Lothario.
Oh boy, everything's like all foggy. I didn't remember this happening. Nope. Boy, I can't outrun a Caragor. If that goes after me, I'm screwed. Can I just not fast travel? Yeah, I can. It's a lot faster. And it's the name. The name fast travel. Alright. Who's dead? Okay, starting essential will take you through the end of the journey, but once you finish, it'll be returned to where you left off. Okay. Yeah, so do I still have my army as it should be? Yeah, I do. Good. That's important. Because this next mission is pretty goddamn cool as well. Sorry, this is my favorite mission in the game.
We will be together soon. Forever.
Cheeky camera. Nope, nope, not anymore. Never mind. A bit of delayed reaction there, but that's fine.
But we took it from them.
Yeah. The ring for himself.
Thief! It was mine to keep. Be gone. Sauron knows we're here. Let's not keep him waiting.
Yeah, taking the ring for himself. Black Mountain. Is that what it's called? I think it's called that.
There are other places in Middle-earth we can go. Perhaps Rohan.
We could go north. Esgaroth. Use a different name and start anew.
I would love that in my heart.
Alright, soldiers, let's do this.
Come for you, Lord of Gifts.
Oh, you have your army fighting their army. It's great. But the best part is when you have your 5 war chiefs here for you. Actually, wait, I don't need to get in the way.
Power of the Grave Walker!
My 5 war chiefs versus the Talon of the Black Hand. Out of here, Karagor. You're gonna die in 2 seconds. You have a hunter. A good one at that. Charge! This is my favorite.
Honor to serve under the tower.
I'll mount your head on the spikes of the Black Gate for what you did to him.
These guys are like the toughest of the tough.
You're the one who tried to save the witch's fisher folk. But you turned your back, and we made him scream.
Ow, ow.
I've heard of you. I don't believe a word of it.
Come on. Oh god. Oh god. Will not die today. Not today.
Fire Mountain bring doom. Doom to all men.
This is the last time I haven't attacked yet. Oh, he's dead apparently. I'll never know what he had to say. Makes me sad. Let's find out. Lockability. Now's the time. Critical strike. No, you know what? No. Flames of vengeance. There's no more appropriate ability, is there? Just have my sword constantly on fire. Yes, War Cheese, fight! Kill them all! One more has been killed. He is the last one. He has a freaking ability to stop me from vaulting over him, which makes him really annoying. Freaking berserkers. Bam. And it's kill the last one. They're all considered war chiefs, so. This is my favorite fight in the game. It's just cool to have all your war chiefs in your army attacking their army, and you have their 5 like main war chiefs as well. There's a giant wall I was talking about. It is used once in this game, at this very moment here.
This will finish as it started, with shadow and flame falling on the Black Gate. The hammer and the tower are dead. Sauron is still weak. Without the power of the One Ring or the Ringmaker, he cannot take form. He will be trapped within Mordor, no more than an eye of flame bound to his dark tower.
And at last I can die, and none will avenge me.
A gift for you, Celebrimbor.
Oh, he had done the same thing. He had created his own Orc army at one point. Using the Ring of Power advantage, huh? The ring always betrays its owner at the worst times. Always does. Into death with his own goddamn hammer. Shit. Brutal.
The Dark Lord gave you a second chance to stand by his side. Now I give you no choice. We shall be sealed together in death. So be it. Return to me.
I him, I start dying. I guess that is how it works. One, two.
Strike out on him! I cannot hold it for much longer!
Three. Four. And done. Welcome to why you should never make a quick time event the final boss of the game.
We will be together soon. Forever.
The Black Hand of Sauron is dead. The Hither Shore is calling us. This is no longer our battle. I tried fighting you. It can't be done.
Could you really rest for all of eternity, knowing that you had the chance to stop him, but did nothing? The time has come for a new ring.
Ooh. I forgot that line at the end there. So yeah, I have no idea how exactly canon the story is, but it's definitely good still, even in the end. Sadly, they decided to go for the quick time event ending instead of letting you actually fight Sauron for a bit there. Like, it wasn't Sauron himself, it was more like a projection of him than an actual like full-on form of him. He needs the ring to take full form, I think. But yeah, it would have been cooler to actually get to fight him, or just fight the Black Hand. Like, I know the Black Hand's supposed to be the sorcerer, but it would be cool to see the Black Hand be able to actually use a sword and magic during his fight, you know, something like that. They kind of screwed up the ending there. The actual final boss of the game is the 5 Talons, and like, as cool as they are, and as tough as they can be somewhat, it is dealing with 5 war chiefs at once. And like I said, war chiefs are tougher than your normal captains. They have more health, they do more damage, things like that. And they all had unique little abilities. You had a hunter, you had a berserker, you had the shield guy that prevents you from vaulting, you had 2 shield guys, which is really nasty. But it's not the hardest fight in the world, you know? So it's kind of like meh, you know, at the same time, you know? But whatever, it was still a really fun little ending. It was still pretty badass. It just didn't feel good because it was just a quick time event. Quick time events are fine. I don't mind quick time events, but it's only if it's like as a reward at the end of something, you know, like God of War, like once you kill a boss, you get a quick time event to finish them off in a brutal fashion. That's fine. You still get to fight them, you know. So this is one of those games I kind of failed at the end there. But oh well, that's why I think the hammer should have been like more of an example of what fun like war cheese and stuff should have been, like, you know, special abilities, unique attacks that only war cheese can have, you know, that make them more dangerous than the normal captains. That should be how it is. So I think Shadow of War is doing that. I think Shadow of War seems to be trying to go that route. Hopefully it does, because that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's what Shadow of War is. Shadow of War is about us after we decide to stay. Now we build our army and we take the fight to them, you know. So, and we build an actual army, and that's going to be a lot of fun. If it's done right, it's going to be a lot of fun. What do I think about this game? What do I think about Shadow of Mordor? Shadow of Mordor is definitely still one of my favorite games to play. It's slowly wearing thin on its like lifespan now, because like I said, Shadow of War is coming out and that looks a lot better, and it looks like to do what I wanted this game to do in kind of sense. And like I said, eventually there's only so much you can do in this game until eventually it just gets repetitive. One of the biggest problems being that difficulty is kind of not of a problem near the end of the game. You can kind of take on anything as long as you can just spam, you know, your executions as much as you can, you know. And if you have the flame of whatever thing with the sword, you just spam executions and kill everything in the game. It's absolutely ridiculous how powerful that is. But difficulty is not a problem, which causes the captains and war chiefs to stop feeling dangerous unless they're like they have like combat master and all the infernal abilities and they're like a really cheap captain. But so because he stopped feeling dangerous, it starts feeling like as if you have to actually try to kill them and take over the army. So then this nemesis system kind of falls apart, because there's no matter how unique a captain is, if you just do the same thing every time to kill them, then it doesn't matter as much, right? So that's the thing. But let's get in. Let's go step by step. So story wise, I like the game does okay. I feel like there's a lot of like useless points in it here and there that I feel like it's just like meh. I feel like they should focus a lot more on just Talion, Celebrimbor, and them just trying to take out the Uruks than and focus on the Uruks and their captains of that, instead of just focusing on like random side stories. Like, you know, like don't get me wrong, like the dwarf was there to have a reason why he gets the treasures, to go back and see his memories, and you know, gameplay wise they teach you how to use the animals, things like that. And the rebellion was just there to like give a reason once again to find treasures, and to give a reason as to how you successfully attract the black captains they're called, whatever like that. I can't remember. I don't know. All in all, it's weird. The story wasn't bad. It definitely wasn't bad. The characters were interesting enough, but it was a lot of typical stuff. I've played so many games these days that characters are just so typical and bland. Like Talion, as much as they're interesting characters from normal norms, they have personality, they have backgrounds, tragedies, and they have a reason to fight, and you know, stuff like that. And they do have personality. Like when like he's dealing with like freaking Gollum, you know, this Talion is clearly pissed off, while Celebrimbor is very calm and composed and deals with it as he needs to, you know. But I still feel like those kind of characters, like so many big games use characters like Talion, like Celebrimbor. Like it's just so often you see this that I don't get attached to the characters, just because like Talion could have actually died at the end there, like actually full on died, like in a terrible ending, and I wouldn't have felt bad because it just been like you know, he's typical, you know, serious protagonist with a sword 101, you know, like. So I don't know, I don't like these kinds of stories as much. It's not that I hate them, I just don't like them. They're not a big deal. So for me, it's like a neutral point. It doesn't add or remove any points to the game. It does what it needs to do, but it's not overly interesting that it makes me like, it doesn't like draw me completely. It's enough to get me interested in doing the story and get it done, but I want to do it just to get it done, not because I actually want to experience it. So it's a kind of like a middle ground. Zero, no, it doesn't take away from the game, doesn't add to it. Gameplay wise, this game's a lot of fun. There's a lot of little tiny issues with it here and there. Like there's like some control, like sometimes you'll like try to climb up something and it won't work, or you don't want to climb up something, your character does, or you're trying to do one attack and it doesn't matter, or you're trying to dodge an attack but your character's stuck inside of an animation, you can't, things like that. But generally speaking, even though it's easy, it's still a lot of fun and it's very satisfying. The combat is satisfying. Most of the, impressively enough, even though I didn't get every ability in the game is useful, and you see yourself using them all the time. That is a big plus for a game, considering they focus on what they needed for the game. They didn't make any abilities as simple like, oh, do extra damage. That was on the second upgrade table. That was just like you use points that you got and put them in. That was fine. That was the money one. The point one at the beginning with the normal like abilities and powers, they were always unique and interesting and useful. So that's a big plus for this game, because games need that. Games need to have, you don't have to have an ability where you just sit there going like, meh. Even the throwing daggers are useful. The throwing daggers lets you stun enemies easily, and it's actually very useful against captains who have, I think, combat master, because then you just throw a knife, stun them, you hit them 3 times with a combat knife, instantly putting a combo up to 3, hit them twice with a normal attack, and after that use the Wraith Blast, and there you go, there's some free damage there, you know, stuff like that, you know. So it's useful. A lot of the powers are nice. When you start using some of the powers, you start realizing how strong they are. You feel like a badass. You never feel like you're impossible. You never feel like you're unkillable. Like enemies can still definitely, you know, get you sometimes if you're not careful. But it's in the end, I think the biggest problem with the game was simply difficulty. Difficulty was a problem. The enemies, the captains, especially, and the war chiefs, especially the war chiefs. The captains are one thing, but the war chiefs were not dangerous enough to make you fear them. Like even level 21. The hardest part about a level 21 is if he's immune, he's a combat master, range immune, animal slayer, and stealth immune. Because then you have to just slowly whack away at his health very slowly with normal attacks. And if he's a shield guy with Vault Breaker, then you're in the worst spot you can ever be in. But that's only because of really bullshit nemesis spawn. So that's not difficult anymore. That's just like, oh, you can't kill this guy, not without like getting a guy to fight for you and letting him do it for you. You know, it's kind of like But all in all, the gameplay is definitely good, and it does what it needs to do. It makes you feel like a badass. It makes both combat and stealth amazing. The Nemesis system, as much as it had the first time a system like this has been made, as far as I know, it does a really good job. Shadow of War will hopefully make it better, but for this game here, it's definitely good. It's definitely well done. Like I said, there's improvement that can be done, and like I said, they're making a sequel, so hopefully the sequel can improve on what this game has done. But for like the first time this has ever been tried to make a bunch of unique randomly generated captains that have personality, the fact that they all have their own like unique dialogue and stuff like they don't have unique dialogue, but there's so much dialogue built for them that, you know, these guys feel all unique and interesting. Seeing freaking, you know, Pug the Swift, whatever, show up at the end for the 3rd time, you know, it was like, oh my god, that's pretty awesome. That's actually pretty funny. You know, things like that. It's all fun and interesting things to see, and you start recognizing some guys. Like I still remember, what is it, Skull Bull? Skull Bull was a nice one. He has a freaking explosive arrows and stuff like that. I don't remember most of their names because I didn't say them enough, and I went through the Nemesis quickly. But the first time I played this game, the Nemesis system was something I really got into, and I remembered so many different people that I fought. I can't remember anymore. It's been a long time. I got this game like when it first came out. I got this game like almost immediately when it came out, on the very first day. So it's been a while, so I don't remember all the names, but I remember like a lot of the like different scenarios. From one guy that just came back 4 times in a row, one after the next, every time I tried killing him, and finally cut his head off and finished him off. But goddamn. But yeah, things when it comes to things like the customization, the runes. I had the DLC runes, which are fun to use. The DLC runes are definitely like fun, interesting, unique ones to use. The normal runes in the game, there's very few runes I actually looked at and went like, oh god, this is awesome. A lot of them are very chance based, like get a headshot and have a 30% chance to get 2 arrows back. Okay, you know, it's meh. There's no like outright damage increase or outright focus increase. Not like common ones. Like you might have to get like some really rare ones to maybe do that, but runes weren't the most interesting thing in the world. It's only the DLC ones, especially for the sword. The sword's the most interesting ones that you can get. So I was lucky to have the DLC, you know, that I bought it. But at the end of the day, meh. they're meh at best. But they don't take away from the game. They do add it. They don't take away from it. The runes are never something. They never got in the way. So I won't remove points with the runes being bad, you know, or being boring. It doesn't take away from the game. It just doesn't add to it, you know. I never even bothered doing side missions, so I can't say much about it, but I heard that side missions aren't exactly the most interesting thing in the world. They're just kind of there. And they're your typical, okay, sneak around and kill these enemies in this set amount of time, or go in and kill this many enemies without dying, or things like that, or execute this many enemies, ground kill this many enemies. It's very simple things, you know? So, man, collectibles I didn't bother. Lore is nice. There's a lot of lore, so that's really nice. But that's more story than gameplay. But yeah, all around gameplay, just in general, feels nice. With the occasional clunkiness here and there, but nothing that was like, oh my god, I hate this game so much for this. And it was mostly clunkiness. It wasn't like a game design flaw, you know. So I would give a +1 point for that. So yeah. Graphics are nice. The game looks nice. I'm not a big graphics person, but the graphics did not take away from the game. The graphics are nice. They were clear. The characters were interesting. Every Uruk having like its own unique design was really cool. I like that. So like when an Uruk is like a madman, like he has like his brain showing up. When an Uruk is like a bloodthirsty, he has like weapons of blood on him and things like that. So those kind of things are really cool, and I like that. So that's pretty nice. I'm trying to think of like graphics has never been a big thing. They never take away from the game and are never like annoying. The game runs at a good FPS, things like that. So the graphics don't take away from that. All in all, I'm back into like the free roam now, so don't worry about that. But all in all, the game is all in all fun enough. The graphics are fun. The graphics themselves are good enough. I'm rambling and just saying my thoughts as they come out, so I apologize. I apologize for saying like weirdness, but yeah, the graphics are fine. Like there's enough details, enough to tell what you need to do, and there's no like very clear graphical glitches. So that's a +1. I think the game does this graphics well enough. What's really nice is that when you kill enemies, you can see and feel the impact of your attacks. And the design of the Uruks and characters in the game are nice. So I will give a +1 for that. Performance, the game, like I said, performs perfectly fine, so that's good. It runs on my older laptop. It ran perfectly fine with lower settings, so that's good. So that's a +1 for that. And well, I wouldn't say it's +1 because like the performance is like I shouldn't get like really music performance. Like, the performance just works, so that's nice. Sound and music. The music isn't like super interesting, but it's not bad either. The coolest part is when the war chiefs walk out and you hear like the music becomes the name of the war chief. That's really nice, and the music does hype you up. Like if you're on a Karagor, it sounds nice. So even though it's not anything groundbreaking, it's definitely good, and it definitely adds to the game. Like when you're walking up to the enemies and you hear the horn blare as the battle starts, it gets you pumped up for combat. And if the music wasn't there, I feel like the game would be missing something that makes you feel it's awesome. So I would give the game a +1 for the music. So in general, that is 0, +1, +1, +1. So that would be 8 out of 10 would be the total there then, because I start at 5 and I add to the 5 as I go on or remove from it. So in total, the score that I would give as an analysis would be 8 out of 10. My personal opinion score that I would give to it, the score that I would give it personally, would definitely be 9 out of 10. Like personal experience, personally speaking, just because the game is fun. Yeah, sure, things like story don't matter, but in the end, the story might not be exactly the greatest things. But at the end of the day, I don't care. The game for me is a 9 out of 10. The only thing I wish is that the Nemesis system was more important, was more fleshed out, and that the combat was a little bit harder. That like less cheap in the sense that like, you know, like hunters and archers would just throw things at you with little warning, and you'd have to dodge them without really knowing they're happening, or take damage and lose your combo. And for dodging to be a little bit more fluid, because shield enemies were a pain in the ass otherwise. Like sometimes you would just spam the A button the moment you saw it, and your character was just stuck in an animation and would not get out of it, you know, it would get hit. So yeah, but other than that, you know, like the game is definitely a lot of fun. I would highly recommend people to get it, especially if you're preparing for Shadow of War. It's a nice, simple version of that game, I feel, and it's a nice way to get into it. But we are not exactly done yet. There is DLC for this game, and I will be playing the DLC. But for now, I will move on to a quick other game. I might get something else recorded today. I'm going to be done for going for today. But I will come back to this really quick and get the DLC done. But that is what I believe the game is. So 8 out of 10 from an analysis point of view, just thinking like there's nothing that really takes away from the game. But things like story, especially story, could be better. And even though the game does everything right, it doesn't really break any new grounds. It doesn't make anything amazing, you know. So that's why it's an 8 out of 10. So multiple things were done right. Story could have been a little bit harder, but nothing was extraordinary. It just, the Nemesis system did what it needed to do. The stealthing and attacking did what it needed to do. That made you feel like a badass as you needed to. And the story was good enough, especially if you like Lord of the Rings. If you like Lord of the Rings a lot, then it can be good. If you don't like Lord of the Rings, it doesn't exactly confuse you that much, and since the story isn't that big of a focus, it's fine. Personally, I think it's one of the greatest games I've ever played. 9 out of 10 definitely. Just needs a few more little, tweaks here and there for what, because it's not. I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 just because the things that it's trying to do, it doesn't do perfectly. Like the Nemesis system and the make you feel like a badass kind of soldier and really awesome combat were the two biggest points for this game. And those 2 points need to be fresh. Need to be cleaned up a bit to make them really, really, really good. If it was good like that, then it'd be a 10 out of 10. I don't care about the story, I don't care about the graphics, I don't care about none of that. If just the Nemesis system and combat and like stealth and things like that were all perfectly well done, then it'd be a 10 out of 10 personally. So yeah, so those are my 2 scores I'm giving it. I plan on doing these kind of reviews on the games when I finish them more often. I like this little thing. I like giving a more like, okay, technically the game should probably be about an 8 out of 10, but personally I think it's a 9 out of 10. I'd say from personal experience it's more, but I know not everybody's gonna like enjoy the same things I do, so I gotta kind of look at it more as best as I can. I think objectively is the correct word. I have to look at it as the most neutral stance I can give it, So yeah, that's why I'm not saying like personally I think the Nemesis system combat is amazing. I personally think it should be 2 points for it, but I know there's a lot of issues with it still. It's not perfect, so I can't give it 2 points when I'm looking at it more neutral. But I can definitely give it more points just because it's still very well done. But yes, anyways, that is all that. Even though I didn't do side quests all that, like I said, I've tried a few of them. I've tried a few side quests. It's not that I've never done them, but when I did, they didn't interest me enough. And I feel like they're not interesting enough side quests. They're nothing like the Nemesis. The Nemesis missions are way more interesting than the side quests are. So, there's that. So, and collectibles, well, collectibles are nice. There's a lot of collectibles, you can go get them. I mean, collectibles alone are not enough to make a game unless the collectibles are part of the game, like like Doom, or like most like old school platformers like Crash Bandicoot and how am I forgetting, Banjo-Kazooie, things like that. Those ones would be things, but this is not one of those games. So yeah. But anyways, before I keep rambling on for too long, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. This was really good, actually. I'm surprised I kind of finished the main game in just 2 episodes. I usually don't do this, but to be honest, I also didn't spend like half the time being distracted. I was able to actually focus on recording, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, I will see you guys soon, and have a nice day.